Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Dr. Orszag. This is not personal to you, since I have a great amount of respect for your budget acumen and your integrity. But this is a breathtaking document. It's historic levels of debt, it's historic levels of deficit, it's historical levels of taxation. It is simply breathtaking. And I fear that the actions of this administration, if undertaken by this Congress, will simply bankrupt this nation. I fear this budget document. Now, Dr. Orszag, I had my second opportunity to speak to the President on Friday. And if you would please relay to the President, I thought it spoke exceedingly well of him, to his leadership and his character, that he would come and speak to House Republicans. In my exchange with the President, I laid out some facts, I guess to put it politely. He pushed back on them. And I asked him a question that he declined to answer. For the record, I said the last Republican budget did not grow government beyond 20% of GDP, immediately froze non-defense discretionary spending and spent $5 trillion less. For the record, the administration can go to the Budget Committee website, pages 49 and 39, and verify that in your own table S1 for your last budget to get the $5 trillion differential. I also asserted that what were once old annual deficits under Republicans have now become monthly deficits under Democrats. Can you pull up chart 7, please? Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time looking backwards, but I continue to hear from my friends on the other side of the aisle that Republicans spent too much. Republicans created these deficits. Guess what? We share the guilt. Yes, we ran up deficits. I'm embarrassed about them. I regret them. But as an order of magnitude, what we see, and if you'll go to chart 8, please, that the average deficit when Republicans controlled the purse strings was $104 billion. The average deficit when Democrats have controlled the purse strings, $1.1 trillion. So I would submit, Dr. Orszag, to the extent that you inherited a bad budget deficit, you inherited it from a Democratic Congress, and I believe you were making it far, far worse.
Okay.
Now, the clock didn't, Mr. Chairman, did
I don't think the clock went. It didn't go. Yeah. And I'm not sure there was a question, but I'm delighted to answer it anyway. What do you want to do? Split it down in half? 2.5? Just go 2.5. Would you like me to respond to
Sorry,
it?
Mr. Chairman, is the clock not working? No, I do. Will it work now? Oh, here we go.
You okay with that 2.5?
I'm okay with 2.5.
I'm confused.
Is it
now.
going
Would
to
you
work
like me to
from here,
respond to that?
Mr. Chairman, or should I go ahead and continue?
I'm going to cut you off at 2.5.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm not sure there was a question, but
We're
I'm
getting to the
delighted
question,
respond.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I would like to respond to it, though, but I'll let you ask your question.
Well, to the extent I
Okay,
have
I'll
any
wait.
time left,
I'll wait.
Dr. Orszag, I'm happy for you to put this in context. The question I asked the President was, will that new budget, like your old budget, triple the national debt and continue us down the path of increasing the cost of government to almost 25% of the economy? Again, table S1 of this budget you've now presented show that debt held by the public is set to rise from $5.8 trillion in FY08 to $18.5 trillion in FY 2020, which is 3 times larger. So apparently, perhaps the President misunderstood what I said. If not, I believe he was mistaken, so I'll certainly provide you with these citations. But Dr. Orszag, since the President decided to push back on my assertions, I have some other assertions I would like to share with you that you can talk about. This is from CNBC today. Quote, the deficit for this year would be 10.6% of the total economy, a figure unmatched since the country was emerging from World War II. This is from the New York Times yesterday. The budget projects that the deficit will peak at nearly $1.6 trillion in the current fiscal year, a post-World War II record. CNN, they're not calling it Stimulus 2, but the Obama administration wants to extend the life of several Recovery Act provisions by building them into the federal budget. CNN yesterday. Reuters, quote, even if all goes according to plan, the White House still forecasts U.S. public debt rising above 71% of GDP by 2013, up from 53% in 2009, levels that could spook investors. Today's Wall Street Journal, quote, all of this spending must be financed, and so deficits and taxes are both scheduled to rise to record levels. Also in the Journal, quote, as a share of the economy, outlays will reach a post-war World War II record of 25.4% this year. This is a new modern spending landmark. So if the administration pushes back on my assertions, do you wish to push back on the assertions of the New York Times, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, and Reuters?
Well, and I think actually doing so is the same thing. So could I put up your chart of the deficits again for a second? Because I think this is important. So let's go back to your...
Mr. Chair, not, and excuse me.
That one.
Could, Mr. Chair, point of personal privilege, could I ask who prepared